Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to deploy a machine learning model using Flask. So in this video we're going to build this website that I have here right now, and we're going to build this navigation bar. We're going to create also this interface that we can see here that has this price prediction as a title, these instructions, and here the inputs that the user will introduce to play with our machine learning model. So the two inputs that we're going to use are the rooms, number of rooms a house has, and also the distance to employment centers. So based on these two inputs, we're going to get the value of a house. So this is the value that we're going to predict with our machine learning model. So the user has to introduce these two inputs. So for example, number of rooms 5 and the distance to employment centers 4 kilometers, and then the user predicts the value by clicking on this button. So he clicks on predict and we have this message. So basically this message is telling us that this house, based on the input we introduce, has a value of $11,000. So basically this is what our machine learning model does, and we're going to deploy this with Flask. So let's get started. So we'll continue with this tutorial in a second. I want to thank Medium for sponsoring this video. Medium is a platform where you can find thousands of Python tutorials, data science guides, and more. You can get unlimited access to every guide on Medium for $5 a month using the link in the description. Alright, the first thing we have to do is to create a virtual environment. So usually when we deploy our machine learning model, we use different libraries than the libraries we use for building the model. So we have to separate the libraries, and we do that with a new virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, we have to open up a terminal. I have here my terminal, and then we have to run the following command. So we write Python 3, then -m, then v, and then we write the name of our virtual environment. So in my case, I'm gonna name it deploy here dash, and then I'm gonna name it LR. That stands for linear regression. So by the way, we're gonna build a linear regression model, which is the simplest model, and we're gonna use this for this example. So deploy-LR, and actually I'm gonna name it deploy-LR-env. That stands for environment. So that's gonna be the name of my virtual environment, and now I press enter, and with this we create our virtual environment. So now I'm gonna show you how my directory looks. So this is the environment we just created, and I put this inside a folder named deploy-LR. So this is the main folder, and here I'm gonna create a new folder named deploy-LR-project. So basically this is where all my files are gonna be located, and this is my environment. So now we have to open our IDE or text editor and put this folder in that editor. So to start working with Python. So I'm gonna use, in this case, Sublime Text, and I'm gonna drag this folder to start working on this project. So here I have my folder, here I have my environment and all the projects. So let's start by installing Flask. So open up a terminal, and here first we have to activate our virtual environment. So to do that, first I'm gonna see where I'm located. So I'm located here, and I'm gonna activate the environment by writing source, and then I'm gonna write deploy env, and then bin, and then activate. So basically that's how you activate your virtual environment. So now I press enter, and here you can see that now I have the environment here within parentheses. So this indicates that I successfully activated this new virtual environment. So now you can check out which libraries you have with pip list, and since it's a new environment, we don't have anything. So now let's install Flask. So we only write pip install Flask, and it's as simple as that. We wait a couple of seconds, and now we have Flask installed. So we can see here Flask is installed, and we have version 2.11. So now I'm gonna copy and paste a simple template that we usually start when working with Flask. So if you go to the Flask documentation, you'll see this code snippet that you can use for your project. So here I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna right click here and click on new file. By the way, I'm using Sublime Text as my text editor. So here I'm gonna save this file and I'm gonna save it as app.py. So this is the name of my app that we're gonna create. So I'm gonna click on save and this is saved here inside my project folder. So now I'm gonna paste the code that we copied before. So this is basically the simplest template that can help us start working with Flask. And here I'm gonna add an extra just to easily run this on the terminal. So I'm gonna add this if name equal to main and here app.run. You don't have to know the logic behind all of this. You just need to know that this will easily help us run this script on the terminal. So now that we have this template, we can open up the terminal again and here we can run this script. So let me check if I'm on the directory. No, I have to cd and go to the deploy lr-project. So here, now I have here the app.py and now I can run this by writing Python app.py. So I run this and here we can see that we got this message and the last line says that our app is running on this link. So we can copy this. So now we can go to our browser and here I can paste this. So here we can see that in the port 5000 is located our app. So here we see the message hello world that basically is what we have here. This hello world message that is inside this hello world functions. So this is great. This means that we successfully installed Flask, so we can start working with it. Great. Now I'm here back on Sublime Text and here I added a couple of files. So first, this model.pkl file. Basically, this is our model that we saved with the pickle library. And this is another folder which I just added. And this is the ml-model folder. So this one has the model, the machine learning model that I previously built. So this model basically creates a linear regression. So we use value as a dependent variable. So this is what we're going to predict, the value of houses. And as independent variables or inputs, we have the number of rooms and the distance. So basically, we're using here a prices CSV file. So maybe I can open this one here. So basically, this is a CSV file with 3 columns, rooms, distance, and values. So this is what we're going to use as a data. And with this, we create a linear regression, and then we save this with the pickle library. So I'm not gonna build this from scratch. This is a simple linear regression model that you can build yourself. The purpose of this video is just to deploy this with Flask. So I already have this model.pkl file, which is here. So you don't need to have this ml-model folder, only this model.pkl file that I'm gonna leave on the description so you can use it for this project. So I'm gonna close this file, this model.py, and also this prices.csv. So now that we have this model.pkl file, what we have to do is to load this in this script. We're gonna first import pickle. So I'm gonna write import pickle. So now we have to load this model.pkl file. So we have to write pickle.load, then we open parentheses, and then we open this file. So we write open, and then we write the name of this file. So model.pkl, and then we use the RB to read bytes. And this is what we use to load this model that we built before. So now I'm gonna write equal to and model. So this is my variable. And with this, we load this machine learning model we built. So now we have to create our first function. So this is the template for our function that we extracted from the Flask library, but we have to modify it. So first, let's understand what this is doing. So first we have here an @ sign, which indicates this is a decorator. Decorators modify the behavior of functions or classes. And this decorator in particular tells Flask what URL should trigger our function. So in this case, that URL /, which indicates the home page, should trigger our hello world function. So every time we go to the home page, we should see this hello world message that actually we saw here, right? Here is hello world when we went to this website. So everything was working fine. So basically this is what this decorator does. Now this hello world is the name of the function, and this return is basically what is going to be shown in the website. So now let's modify this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name of this function. So it's not going to be hello world, but it's going to be hello. So that's the name of my function. You can name it whatever you want. And now I'm going to import something from Flask. So here I'm going to write render underscore template. So here it's written like this, render underscore template. And now I'm going to use this here instead of return, and I'm going to write here. So sorry, return, it's here, and I'm going to add render underscore template. So this render underscore template helps us render an HTML file every time we go to this link. So every time we go to this homepage, we can render something in the front end. So here, for example, I'm going to render a file named index.html. So this is my HTML file that we're going to create in a couple of seconds. But basically, every time we go to this link, we're going to render this template, which is an HTML file. And this is basically our front end. So before we create this HTML file, we have to create a folder named templates. So here in my project folder, I'm gonna right click and create a new folder. So new folder, and here I'm gonna name it templates. So it has to be written like this. It's like a convention, so you have to name it as templates. So here I write templates, and now I have a new folder named templates. So this folder is gonna have a file named index.html. So this is an HTML file, and it's inside templates. So make sure you have this directory or something similar, because this order is important. So templates, and inside templates, an HTML file that you can name it whatever you want. I'm naming it index.html, but you can name it as you want. So once we have this HTML file, we're going to use a basic template for HTML, and on Sublime Text, I only have to write, I think, HTML and then press tab, and we have this basic template. So basically this is the basic template for HTML. So we have the title, the head, and also the body. So here I can write, for example, a title for my website, which is my machine learning model. So this is the title that you're gonna see in a couple of seconds. And here in the body, I can print an H1 message. For example, my first website. I don't know. So this is what it's gonna be in the body of the website, and this is gonna be what it's on the title. So this is ready, and we can test this out. So we can open here again the terminal. Here we have to press Ctrl+C to exit the current process, and then we can run it again. And here I got an error because we need to install all the libraries our model needs to work properly. So here I'm going to open this model.py that I showed you before, and we're going to see the libraries that we need. So basically we need sklearn and we need pandas. So I open up a terminal again, and here I install sklearn. So pip install sklearn. And after this, we're gonna install pandas. So just wait a couple of seconds. So we have sklearn installed, and now pip install, and it's gonna be pandas. So pip install pandas. So we wait again. Okay, we install pandas, and now everything should be fine. So now I'm gonna run this app again, Python app.py, and now we press enter and we wait a couple of seconds. Okay, now we have this message again, so we copy the link and then we go to Google, we press enter here, and you see that we have this my machine learning model in the title and here my first website in the body. So everything was loaded correctly. So just keep in mind that we have to install the libraries that our machine learning model needs. So we have to install, in this case, sklearn and also pandas. So now I'm gonna close this model.py and we just verify that this was set up correctly. So now we can start building our function. So now before we build our function, we can add something called Bootstrap. So we don't see something like this. So this is a plain website. We don't have anything. We have just a blank page and just this message. But we can make this much better. We can add some elements by adding Bootstrap. So basically, Bootstrap helps us avoid writing some JavaScript code and writing CSS on our own, and we only have to copy and paste some code. So we can add a navigation bar and we can add many elements with Bootstrap. In this simple example, I'm just going to add a navigation bar so you can see the power of Bootstrap. So you only have to go to this website, getbootstrap.com, and here you have to click on docs. And first you have to copy this CSS code. So just copy this code. Here I can click on copy. And then we have to go back to Sublime Text. And here I'm gonna just paste this first line of code here in the head. So here I paste this, and this allows us to work with CSS. So basically this loads the CSS of the Bootstrap. And here I'm gonna write a message that says CSS. So basically this is the CSS. And now to add the navigation bar, we can go here to Bootstrap, and here we have to check a section that says navbar. So here I can search it, maybe here. So here I click on navbar and then I scroll down, and we only have to copy this code. So basically you go to the navbar section, which is this one, and then you scroll down and you only have to copy this code. So here I only copy this code. I go back to Sublime Text, and here I can just paste it. So first I'm gonna write here navbar, then press enter and paste everything here. So we have to make sure the format is correct. So let me check here. Here I have the dips. So here we have to put this inside nav. So I think here just one tab and this is done. So here nav has to be here with this nav. So everything is correct now. So make sure that when you paste your code, you format this correctly. So here it wasn't pasted correctly, and just I press one tab and I could set up this correctly. So now everything is fine. So we have nav and we have this dip inside nav. So here is everything properly set up. So we have this navbar section, and now we can see the results on the website. So I just have to paste the link we had before and press enter, and well, we don't see the results because we didn't exit that process that is currently going on the terminal. So I'm going to the terminal, and here I press Ctrl+C to exit this process. Then I clean this and I run this again. So Python app.py, and here I run, or I refresh this with Ctrl+R, and we can see that we have the navbar and we have also our message. So this navbar has these functionalities. We can put links here to go to specific sections, and we have here a search bar and many things. Well, I'm not gonna edit this navbar. I just wanted to show you that this works fine, and we can even change the color of this navbar. So here I can just edit this light, and here I can write dark. So dark and dark. I save this. I go back to Chrome. I exit this. with Control C and run this again. So I update, and as you can see, the navigation bar is now with a black color, so it's dark. So basically that's how Bootstrap works. It's very simple. You only have to copy and paste code, and it gives you a lot of functionalities. So let's go back to the app.py, and here let's build our function. So here I'm gonna create a new function called predict, and this is gonna take care of the prediction and all of that. So let's write def predict and parentheses, then colon, and we have to write the decorator. So here add app.root, and here instead of writing just the home page, which is this, we're gonna write predict. So this is gonna be the predict section of the website. And also as methods, we're gonna add methods equal to post. So here post, everything uppercase, and now it's ready. And here I'm gonna write return, and here I'm gonna render a template, and it's gonna be basically the same template we've been working with. So index.html, and this is what we're gonna render every time we go to the predict section. So basically this is our second function, and now we're gonna link this with the HTML file. So here in the HTML file, we're gonna create a new section. So in the body of this file, we're gonna write the form that our users are gonna interact with. So basically they have to introduce to input and then click on the button to get the prediction. So here I'm gonna press enter just to focus on this. And here I'm gonna get rid of this h1 tag. And now we can build this form. So the first thing we have to write is just form, then press tab, and we have this. So now as a parameter of this form tag, we have to add the action. So this action parameter indicates where to send the form data when the form is submitted. So the users are gonna submit the form, and this action tells us where this form is gonna be sent. In this case, I'm gonna send it to the predict section. So this is the section where the form is gonna be sent. Okay, now we can also, instead of writing /predict, we can use a different syntax. So we can do something like this. We can add these curly braces and use the URL for function. So what this function does is to build a URL to a specific function. So if I write here URL_for parentheses and then predict, this is gonna take care of building the URL of this predict function. So basically what this is gonna return is /predict, because the URL related to this predict function is /predict because it's here. So you can verify that the URL that triggers the predict function is this /predict. So this might seem redundant or useless for this simple example, but as you do more advanced things with Flask, this becomes really useful. So now I'm gonna leave it as it is. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another parameter here called method, and here is gonna be equal to post. So method equal to post, and now I press enter. So basically this post method is used to send data to a server. So here we have to send data, basically the data that we introduced in the form. So this is a post method. So now I'm gonna create input tags. So this is gonna be inside the form. So we have two inputs. So I create this twice, and then we have one button. So if you go to the website that we built in the beginning, what I showed you in the beginning, you're gonna see that we have two inputs, two rectangles, and one button. So this is what we're building right now. So here I press button, and well, I have two inputs and one button. Okay, in the type, I'm gonna write just text, and here in the name is gonna be rooms. And then we have to add a couple of more parameters. So placeholder, basically this is what it's on the rectangle on the input. So this is gonna be rooms. and one more which is required. So we make this field required. So here required, and that's it. So we have this input, and I'm just gonna copy and paste it here so we can easily fill this second input tag. And here is gonna be text, but not rooms anymore, but distance. So here distance, and now here just distance in a placeholder, and required, yeah, we set it as required. So in the button, we're gonna change some things. So first, the type is gonna be submit. So I write submit, and then we add a class. And here comes like the tricky part, because we have to remember all the classes that shape this button. So this can be a bit overwhelming in the beginning, because those names like don't mean like don't have like a meaning. But as you use this will get easier. So first btn, that stands for button, and then btn dash primary, then btn dash block, and finally btn dash large. So basically we have the button, and we want to use the primary, let's say shape, and then we have large and block. So this is gonna give some shape to our button. If we only write btn, we're gonna get like a plain button, but if we add all of this, it's like we're gonna get a customized button. And finally here we have to add the text. So I write predict value. So this is the text that the button is gonna have. Now I'm gonna add instructions in a p tag. So here I just pasted this instruction that says introduce the number of rooms and distance. And then I'm gonna put all of this inside a div tag. But first I'm gonna add subtitle with h2. So here is my subtitle, and it's gonna say price prediction. So price prediction like this. Then I'm gonna put this inside just to have a better structure. And now I'm gonna put all of this inside a div tag. So div, press enter, and then the class is gonna be login. So I write login, and we have this, and I'm gonna put this right here. So we have everything inside the div tag. So this is the order that I'm following. So div, then h2, and then everything we built. So this is just to make it much better organized. It's not mandatory, but well, you can follow this if you want. All right, now we go back to the app.py, and here let's continue building this predict function. So first we have to import request from Flask. So here I write comma and request. So this request is going to help us get all the values from the form. So here in the form, we're going to get some data that the users introduce. So we can get this data that users introduce using this request. So here I'm going to write request, and then this data has some shape of dictionary. So what we can do is to write request.form and then use these square brackets as if we were accessing a dictionary. So here we can write the key, which basically is this room and distance that we wrote here. So these are like the keys. So we can write room. I'm not sure if I write room or rooms. Okay, with S. So rooms, and we can also write the other, which is the distance. So distance. So rooms and distance. Now we have to make these two variables an integer. So we write int, and here int. So our model accepts integers. And here I give a name to this. I'm gonna name it room, and the other is gonna be name distance. So basically this is just the name of our variables. And now we can use these two variables to make a prediction. So we only have to write model, which is this model that we loaded before, and just that predict. So here we introduce the two variables inside these double square brackets, because that's the format our model accepts. And here I write rooms, and then I write distance. So these are the two variables that we need to predict the home value. So now I'm gonna name this as prediction, and this is my prediction. So now I'm gonna round this value because this maybe has many decimals, and also I'm gonna pick the first value because if you run the model, you'll see that the output is gonna be a list. So it's gonna be something like, let's say the prediction is that the house is 14,000. So it's gonna be 14 inside these square brackets. So to pick this value, we have to write this square brackets 0. So to pick like the first element of a list. So with this, we're not gonna get 14 inside square brackets, but 14 just as a number and not a list anymore. So here we have our integer, and we can use the round function to set this as 2 decimals. So here I have this with 2 decimals, and I'm gonna set this equal to output. So output, and we have this. Now we can also send this from the back end, because here we're in the back end, to the front end. So basically this app.py is my back end. We're working here with Flask, and the front end is this index.html. So to send this output from the back end to the front end, we have to create a new variable here inside render_template. So here we can create a new parameter. I'm gonna name this variable prediction that /text. You can name it whatever you want, and here I can write anything I want. So I'm gonna write just a message, and here I just pasted the text so I save some time. And the text says, a house with X rooms per dwelling and located X kilometers to employment center has a value of, and this is the value. Here you just need to add the K that indicates thousands, and it's ready. So this is my message. You can write whatever you want. Just make sure you have the rooms and distance and output variables. So here I use the F string to just customize this message, but you can use a plain message as you want and use the plus signs to concatenate. So this is ready, and now I can send this prediction_text from the back end to the front end. Just go to index.html, and here we can include inside this body. So here I'm gonna add this double curly braces to add a new variable, and here I'm gonna paste the name of my variable. So every time we want to add a new variable, we have to put it inside double curly braces, as you can see here. So here I'm gonna add a P tag or maybe a B tag, which indicates this bold text. I think it's called text in bold, which is with a dark font. And well, this is gonna be shown in the website that you're gonna see. And then here I'm gonna add also some breaks. So I add BR, and I think 2 is gonna be fine, just to add some line breaks. So this is gonna add some line breaks between the form and the text, so this prediction text. So with this, everything is ready. So I can save this HTML file and also this app.py, go to my browser, and here I can first, I'm gonna exit this process, clean this, and run this again. So here I got an error because I didn't write this render template correctly. So I go back to Sublime Text, and let's see here I didn't write correctly, so it's template. So here it's just like this, and go back, run this again, and hopefully everything's gonna be fine. So yeah, everything's fine. So I have the app running. So now I just have to go to this website, and you can see that we have these inputs. So it says rooms, it says distance, and we have the value. So here is the price prediction, these instructions, the navigation bar, everything is working fine. So let's play with this. So I'm going to write 5 rooms and let's say 6 distance and predict value, and we can see the message. So it says a house with rooms and per dwelling and located to this has this value. But here, for some reason, we didn't get the actual values, but we get the F string. So let me check this out on Sublime Text. And here I just wrote these quotes and I should delete them. So now it should be working fine, but just let me delete this last parenthesis and let me check if everything is just fine. So I have this F string and I think now everything should be working fine. So I just needed this F string. So now let's go back here. I'm gonna press Ctrl C, clean this up, and here I deleted this parenthesis by mistake. So I go back to Sublime Text and just add this parenthesis, then go back here and run this again. So now everything is working fine. It was just a silly mistake, and now just test this out again. So we go back to the website, we write 5, we write 6, we write predict, and we have the message. So a house with 5 rooms per dwelling and located 6 kilometers to employment center has a value of $12.3 thousand. So everything is working fine. In this video, we learn how to deploy our machine learning model using Flask. If you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comment section. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. That's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.